It's your fucking boy!
Hey there boys, and welcome into another video on my amazing little fucking corner of the internet. I am of course JimBob5478, and today I have for you a video which has been in the works for a while. I meant to release this months ago, but honestly didn't feel like the video was more or less up to scratch. Now, the video I've got for you today is a guide on the Oni, how to play the Oni, so on and so forth for DBD. So, without much else said, let's fucking jump straight into this, shall we? Now, the first thing you need to know about Oni is, without his power, the Blood Fury, without his power, Oni is literally just a basic attack, normal movement speed killer. So, the main thing that you want to focus on when playing Oni is getting that first hit in. Getting the hit in, getting the blood going, getting your power up. Okay? Survivors are most likely going to pre-drop pallets at the higher MMRs and that to prevent you from getting such hits. Now, whichever MMR you're playing at, obviously survivors are going to drop the pallets. But at the higher MMRs, like I've said, they're more likely to drop it against you and drop it early, or maybe drop it to a point where they can get a stun on you without you getting the hit. So the first thing you want to remember when playing the Oni is that first hit is the most important one to get the blood going, get the game going, get the Oni's game going, okay? While in the Oni's Blood Fury demon form, he can run significantly faster and also has a instant down, which can be used to flick around corners and that, but we'll get into that a bit later on. So just to recap, normal basic movement speed killer and normal M1 killer went out of power, significantly increased in both speed and lethality went in his power. The next thing you want to think about is perks, andOni's one of them killers where he can be very fluid with his perks, and he can use most perks pretty damn well. The only perks that don't really work well on him in my opinion are ones such as Iron Maiden, Brutal Strength, like the ones that don't really do much. What I would recommend running for perks, I would recommend Lethal Pursuer, because that shows you for 10 seconds at the start of every match where each survivor starts at, okay? It shows you where they're starting at and which generators they're most likely going to be running to if you don't have corrupt intervention. So now that we've covered Lethal Pursuer and why I would tell you to use that, the next perk I'm going to recommend, or next two perks, because they work well together, are Pop Goes the Weasel, obviously for generator protection. It regresses 25% and one kick alone within 45 seconds of hooking someone, obviously. And then Tinkerer. Now, Tinkerer is really fucking scary on Oni, especially if you've already popped the power and they don't know where you're at. So let's say you've literally just hooked someone, okay? You've got pop, right? The generators that are nearby, they can't be touched by it, yeah? So you go into your power and you fuck off somewhere, right? You're starting to look for other generators to pop. Then Tinkerer kicks in, and you've still got a little bit of time left on your pop, so you carry on in your demon dash towards where this generator's at. And you can hear someone still working on the gen. You come round the corner and you down them so quickly that they don't have time to react. And you get the pop on the generator. That's the ideal use of those two perks together. You can use one to complement the other and so on and so forth. Now onto the last perk of the set which I would recommend, and I would recommend No Way Out, simply because after every first hook you get on a new survivor, up to 4, which is essentially the same amount of tokens as, say, barbecue and chili. Once you've got those 4, the exit gate handle is blocked for 12 seconds, and then I think it's an additional 8 after that. I might be wrong on that. So that's, I think it rounds up to about 40 something seconds, something like that, okay? And I would recommend this perk mostly for that reason alone, and it can also help you secure maybe a 3k or a 4k if you're lucky enough. It will also help in endgame when the endgame collapses go in, and obviously you're looking for that last one. That's where it will help, but it's also just as a, it's also good as a just a like general delaying of escape perk, if that makes sense. Finally, let's talk about his add-ons and which ones I would recommend. Now, personally, to me, Oni doesn't have that many good, interesting add-ons. Like, yeah, he's still got his top knot, and he's got his duration add-ons and that. But to me, personally, they do not even pale in comparison to the wooden Oni mask and the splintered hull, which increases the amount of blood orbs dropped by the survivors when they're interacting with, whether it be a generator, it be a pallet, a locker, each other. Like, if they're interacting with any of that while you're not in your power, they are going to be pissing blood orbs everywhere. Hence why these two add-ons, for me personally, are probably the best go-to choice out of the lot. Again, this is just my opinion, and some other players would tell you otherwise and still recommend, say, the top knot, which I really miss the old top knot. I honestly do. Like, it was so nice. But anyways, I would still recommend these two add-ons because of the amount of blood orbs they drop. Like I've said, the more blood orbs they drop, the more time you can have in your power, which gives you more map pressure, allowing you to get more downs, rinse and repeat. So that's what I would recommend. Oh yeah, before we go any further into the video, I just want to say that after everything that I've just said, everything, okay, there's one small detail that I forgot to mention, which is fucking huge, okay? When you're in your Demon Fury, like when you've activated your power and that, survivors don't drop blood orbs. So you need to be very specific and choose the right time as to when you want to pop the power and that. I personally would pop it if you've literally just got it straight off the bat. So you've hit two survivors, got your power up, and let's say Tinker is propped. You can now pop your fucking power and dash off to that generator, and as we've said, down the survivor and blah 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 blah. But you need to remember that they do not drop the blood orbs. That will fucking screw you over if you do not remember that, and it will also screw you over when you go to try and get your power back up. So like I said, choose wisely about when you pop it due to this factor. Okay, so now that we've got the basic idea of what Oni is, what perks we should use, and what add-ons to run, we're going to start talking about like general, like how to play him, okay? So I'm going to have some footage up on the screen now of me playing some Oni. You may notice that I do some mistakes, or I don't necessarily listen to anything of what I've just said to you, maybe, but you'll learn as you play Oni, like what's the best call to go for. But yeah, so let's start. So the first thing you want to know is when you're in your Demon Fury, when you're running around and that, while you're running in a straight line, you can also, if you're playing on Xbox or PlayStation, you can actually use the right stick to change the angle you're looking at while you're running. And obviously you use the left stick to actually like maneuver around. The maneuvering is kind of like Billy, but more fluid, I guess you could say, because where Billy bumps into like the environment and stuff like that, only slides off the environment, and it can allow for a lot of fucking mind games in this regard as well. The amount of mind games I've won by making it look like I'm going one way and going the other, completely catching them off guard, is 10 times easier than just trying to play it normally. Another thing you'll notice is when you've downed and picked up a survivor while in your power, the power gauge for Oni's Blood Fury, the little white line around like his little mask symbol, that will actually stay where it's at, so you won't lose all your power. Like, yeah, you'll be out of your power, but you won't lose what power you had left from your last, like, Blood Fury. Whatever you've had left, if you've picked someone up, that will stay there, and you won't have to put in as much for the next power to come up. Now on to something which is a little bit more advanced, and that's the flick. Now, as I mentioned earlier, only has a one hit down. This one hit down can be charged, or it can be just held a little bit and then released, and still does the same amount of damage in that. This ability can also be used to break thrown pallets as well. So what you want to do is, while you're running around in your demon dash and that, if you see a survivor going up to a corner and if you think they're going to just be standing there behind it, what you can do is you can come up towards the corner, then just before you're about to turn, if you press the attack button and then push the right stick in the direction of the corner, whichever way it may be going, you'll find that the flick, the club thing will sort of swing round and then it will come down. That's what we call a flick, an Oni demon flick thing. It's easy to pick up, but very hard to essentially master. Like, even I'm having a bit of trouble with it now, and I've been playing Oni since he came out. I've been playing him religiously since he came out, and even I'm still having trouble with it sometimes. Not to a point where, oh my god, I'm struggling so much I can't play this character, but to a point where they can basically outmaneuver it, which I will get on to in just a second. If you can master this Oni flick round corners and shit, you will become a monster to reckon with. Oni is still, to this day, one of the best killers for dealing with high MMR survivors and Swifts objectively. Well, yeah, he can't exactly be choosy in that, and some perks are probably better off on him than others. I'm looking at you, Infectious Fright. While some of these perks may be better than others, he can still absolutely fucking destroy these teams, yeah, even with a setup like I've given you. You don't need perks such as Infectious Fright and stuff like that to deal with a Swift when it comes to the Oni. Because his base kit, while his add-ons are admittedly, in my opinion, fucking trash, besides those two that I've mentioned, he can still do work. But let's talk about it from the survivor's perspective, on the off chance that you decide, oh yeah, I've played against him, now I want to play, I've played as him, sorry, now I want to play against him. Well, boy, do I have the fucking guide for you as well. So, if you've listened to anything of what I've said, you can understand that he is much like Billy in as much as his power is kind of like a straight line. Well, you can use, when he's trying to do the flick and that, you can use that against him, and you can actually swerve his camera, so you can make it look like you're going to go one way. Then as he goes in for the attack, you can switch the direction you're going and go the complete opposite way and send him into fucking Narnia. That is one of the easiest jukes against an Oni. Other than that, just keep dropping the pallets. Drop the pallets, hop the windows, use the resources and environment you've got to get away from him and outlast that power if he's in it. If he's not in it, just pre-drop the pallets. Pre-drop the pallets, vault the windows, make distance. Do survivor things. Keep him busy while your teammates do gens. But yeah, that's about it for this Oni guide, guys. I think I covered it all. I'll make sure to possibly go back over this at a later point in time in case I missed anything. But yeah, until next time, boys, this has been me, Jimbob5478. This has been my Dead by Daylight Only guide, and I'm fucking out of here. See you later, boys.